You had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
Claire, I'm not standing here asking you to marry me. I'm just asking you not to marry him.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow.
It's the Al Travis Show. We love having her on. She's Shannon Watson with Majority in the Middle. Shannon, how are you?
I am doing very well, Al. How are you?
Feeling weird. It'll be interesting to see how this show today goes, how it rolls over, and maybe it'll go better than I think. Maybe it won't in my head. You, in your position and all you've done, have a better opportunity to see the people we talk about every day, our politicians and what they do and say. You get to see them in other lights. Most people don't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we get the idea that, oh, the left, they're all bad. They're all this. They want to do whatever. And the right, oh, all they want to do is, this and that. It's easy to fall to that position. I get it. Unless you've met some of these people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I look at Hoffman. Had I not, I don't know if I ever told, if I hadn't screwed up the entire first meeting with John Hoffman, Senator Hoffman, I would never be great friends with him. He comes on my
what
little
did you do?
We're on the Between the Lines program, and that's like a little cable show I used to do, basically like this, but for 30 minutes we'd talk. And John Hoffman comes on, and we're talking about appropriation bills, whatever. We're just talking. I'm making fun of all the crazy crap that gets in a bonding bill. And because I don't have research assistants, and I'm kind of lazy sometimes, I pull one out, just an example. And at the end of every show, he got his 30 seconds of the box, and I'd get mine. And it was my opportunity. We didn't rip on each other much.
Yeah.
So I do my 30 seconds on the box in this unbelievable, crappy old farm out in the middle of no place that the government wanted to give like $3 million to put in Wi-Fi. It's an old antique farm. And that way kids could go there and learn and yada, yada. And I just ripped it. Like, you want them to learn something, tell them to pick up the plow and get behind the horse. And this, we didn't have and I rip on it.
That was his bill, wasn't it?
It was his bill. He goes, Al, just as we're going to break, he goes, you know whose bill that was, Al? And I said, no. He goes, it was mine. I go, we'll be back right after this. We go to break, and he is laughing. And I'm like, that is not how this is supposed to go. I am not supposed to rip your crap. I apologize. I get on the air right after that. I thoroughly apologize. I said, I didn't know it was him. I'm just having fun. He goes, here's what I want you to do. Oliver Holmes Farm? Oliver something like. Anyway, when we get this thing done, Al, I want you to come out and shoot your show from there, and we'll talk about it. I said I would do that. And it was 2 years later. He come on the show. He laughed. He owned me right after that because I had foot in mouth disease. They get it done, and we went out to Oliver something Holmes Farm. Him, and we shot 3 shows out there, literally from the porch benches, and it was fantastic. And basically, the thing was falling apart. There were bathrooms for the kids, and they put it together, and they set up this whole inner thing.
Yeah.
Would I have spent $3 million on that? No, but I promised him. And on that moment, we went out for cigars after.
Yeah.
He went out to cigars, and now I consider him just a great friend. Now, we don't go to Christmas together or anything, but I enjoy him immensely. Mm-hmm. And it's because I get who he is. Yep, you can disagree with him, and he'll still like you. You can say crappy things about his project on your show, and he'll say, you're an idiot. I actually said, what are the odds that was your bill? He goes, 1 in 67. I'm like, yeah. Good point. So anyway, but we get to meet those people that way, right?
Yeah.
Senator Hortman, I had her on the show one time. I enjoyed her. We weren't tight, but others I get to meet. Senator Nick Frentz, I enjoy him to death, right? I mean, they're just some you get to meet. And again, I used the Emmer thing before you got on. We're lucky to get to do that. And maybe that's why it's easier for you and I to talk policies and what's going on. Because it isn't, oh, yeah, they voted that way. That makes them mean. You know that. I use the Hortman thing. I wish I would have known she did rescue dog stuff and tried to train him, and then she had to take her own dog because it flunked rescue school because it was too friendly. I'm like, that's a person I could hang with. I'm all about the rescue dog. But we didn't know that about her until she passed. But you get to know that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's easier for us to disagree on policies because we still like the people.
Yeah, there's a saying I like. It's hard to hate up close.
You know, Susan Kent, friends of both of ours.
Yes.
Again, I would probably vote about 1% of the things she voted for the same way. But after a year being on the show here and giving her just crap about the bears in her backyard when she goes vacationing,
Right?
I love that woman. That woman is just a saint, might be too much, but she's right there. It is hard to hate when you're close up.
Right.
I love
Because
that.
that's the thing. The more time that you spend with people, the more time you spend in proximity. That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons that we focus on things like, in all of the omnibus bills, like find the pieces that people agree on and pull those out and run those standalone so that we can get this illustration and the experience of everybody voting for the same thing and the agreement. And so citizens can see that, like that kind of thing, sitting next to people in committee. Finding ways for people to connect that aren't in the really performative spaces, because that's when things sort of go bad is when the only time you experience somebody is when you're sort of on stage and you have a role to play.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring up the omnibus bill. We've not talked about that, but there's like this Supreme Court case going up, Midwest Gun Caucus, something or other, that the last
Minnesota Gun
omnibus.
Owners Caucus, yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
They won their lawsuit that their little bit gets to come out because you can't have this omnibus thing going on. And now, as I understand it, because I do have the Upper Midwest Law Center on the program, so I'm practically a lawyer now. They've been on 4 or 5 times. That I've got my law degree.
Lawyer adjacent.
Yes, I'm just right there. Can't wait for the honorary degree. But if all the other people in that bill do the same thing, you could see that this thing could fall apart. I guess my question to you is, for folks like you and I would love that. I would love them all standalone bills and let them fall where they lie. I would like that. And with your example, it would show us that 80% of the things we vote on, it makes sense. It just comes down to that other 20. I think that'd be good for the state. Your thoughts?
I do. One of the reasons that they do the omnibus bills is because some things sort of need to be packaged, like budgets probably need to be packaged. But I think particularly when like policy stuff is packaged with the budget, or policies are packaged with each other, it doesn't give us that illustration. It also gives people more ammunition for campaign time when saying, oh, well, so-and-so voted for this bill. You know what? There's like 19 things in that bill. If they voted for it, they probably had to vote. I mean, particularly if you're in the minority, you wind up, if you're going to vote for a bill, you're going to be taking a bad vote on something, and somebody's going to hammer you for it.
See, that's exactly why we need to have less of this. Everybody has a place to hide. Yes, I did vote for it, but I had to because I'm like, I got to understand that. You voted for it, you didn't. Make it simple so I can see where people are. Then I can make up my mind. And guess what? Wasn't even Ronald Reagan? Somebody said, like, if you're voting with me 90% of the time, does that make you my enemy because of the 10? Probably not. And I think we'd have more of that if you even saw, from my point, a Democrat who 85% of the time he votes exactly the way I would. It takes some of the fangs out of it.
Yeah.
And I would like that a lot.
Well, and I think as our blue districts are getting bluer and the red districts are getting redder, that's partially because, we self-sort. I do think sometimes we let the perfect get in the way of the good. Like if your district that you live in is going to have a Republican representative, do you want, like most people are like, well, I need somebody who's going to vote with me 100% of the time. Like, is 90% good enough? Is 75% good enough? I mean, if it's going to be somebody of your party, maybe good enough is good enough.
Yeah, I see it. On a guesstimate, maybe you can or can't do this. How many people in majority in the middle are active politicians? Do you know that?
Like donors and stuff?
No, that joined. Whether you can join without throwing a bunch. That actually say, no, I'd like to come to these meetings. I know you did a lot with the pledge, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I wonder how many politicians would be willing to do that. And what I mean by that is, again, you say, I need someone to vote 100% my way. You charted with majority in the middle.
Right.
It's so weird that we can't, that being in the middle, being willing to, that's the negative.
Yeah. It's interesting. We actually have our board created a policy. A couple of years ago, we had somebody who was a sitting legislator who applied to be on the board. Okay. And so we now have a policy that if you are sitting in a partisan political position, you can't be in the board. And that is honestly not so much because we were like, oh no, we don't want to be associated with that. It is actually to protect them from their own caucus.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people who have had those partisan positions and they're retired from them, and then they come and join the board. So a lot, it's fascinating how many people want to be associated with our brand, how many people are like, totally, like, I love what you're doing, but please don't put my name in your newsletter, kind of thing. And then there are some who think that, if we're not with them, we're 100% against them, and so they don't like us. Okay.
We got to go to break, but I think all that starts today. Caucuses are today. I understand the framers are much smarter than I will ever be, but this system, in my opinion, causes exactly what we're talking about. Can we talk about it on the other side?
Absolutely.
You're smiling. I think you think I'm not too far off. Yeah, okay, we'll be back right after this with Shannon Watson, our own George Washington.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts." But in a world full of AI and fake news, where can Minnesotans find the facts? Center of the American Experiment is Minnesota's go-to source for fact-based analysis and common sense solutions for taxes, energy, public safety, and our kids' education. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
Amongst friends, the Al Travis Show. Nothing but talk.
I've got our Shannon Watson with majority in the middle. Talk about caucuses. Caucuses are today. It is the start of the process, which I think gets us to the left is all left and the right is all right. And here's my thoughts. And I tried going through this process once, 10 years ago, whatever it was. Go to the local one. You're like, oh, I know that guy. He lives down the road from me. We're talking some politics, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to be honest. Cool. Then who's willing to go next Saturday to the BPOU meeting in the county? I'm like, that'd be cool. I've never done that. Raise my hand. We get together about 60 people that are all willing to take 2 Saturdays in a row, or a Tuesday and a Saturday, and talking about minutia. Oh my, we need to change the if you asked Al what is the platform for my side, I might be able to come up with 10 things. Smaller government. Leave me alone. They wouldn't be really eloquent. I'm no, Washington or Jefferson, but I could come up with 10, and they're talking page 63. We need to add a comma on the thing, and I'm like, oh, I can't argue with that. Put it in there. I don't care. I really don't care. But then you get done with that, and then you get to go to the South Central group, and then you got to have that Saturday, and you can work yourself all the way up to the state convention. Thank God, so you can then spend $1,000 in a hotel room, spend the weekend, and it's like you have to be committed to the bit. I got to that county one that I'm okay. I got other things to do. I got family. I'm not committed enough. And my point being is, you have to be that far right or that far left to go through that process, and the money to go. I think this one's in Duluth this year for the Republicans. I don't know, 6-hour ride and a weekend away. Yeah, I'd tell my wife that's what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be a better way to handle this, but this is how they set it up. Your thoughts on the whole caucus process?
Well, okay. First point is tonight is caucus night for Republicans and DFLers.
Yeah.
There are other caucus things like the Independence Forward Independence Party that is a third party. They are not doing their caucus tonight. I believe they were doing those in March along with their congressional district conventions. There are other minor parties who do separate things. So there are other ways to participate. And to your last point that there's got to be a better way, we have it. It's called a primary. And that happens in August. So no matter what happens tonight, all the way up through those state conventions, if the candidates are willing to run all the way to the primary and file in late May, early June, and get their name on the ballot, then you don't have to spend 3 Saturdays and $1,000.
That's back to this. I'm only talking for the Republican side because that's where I played along for a while. But back to then, this primary, in my opinion, should be in April, maybe May. So you find out who your candidates are, and those two can go after it, right? Let's figure this thing out ahead of time. Not like I need any more time to talk politics is all we do. But on the other side, you'll see folks get the Republican nod, and then if you go against that machine that went through all the weekends and made the $1,000 commitment to donate, they get mad. What do you mean? They'll literally say, "Are you?" They'll try. Will you follow the pledge to go by with whatever we say? And if you don't, that's like a knock. It's like, that's not the way that's just like bullying. Okay, we're going to tell you as a Republican who the Republican Party really likes, and then go decide the rest. Let her hang like that be one thing, but you make them sign contracts and they can't. It gets ishy. I'm talking my side.
And the person who can get all the way up through a state convention and the 2,000 people who have votes there may not necessarily be the same person who could win a general election. And so that's one of the challenges for the parties is who are you going to endorse versus who can win the election? And those are two separate things sometimes. Tim Walz and Mark Gates both did not get the
Could you repeat that? Could you repeat that louder for the Republicans who haven't won a statewide race in, I don't know, 30 years? Can you say a little bit louder for the kids in the back?
I think it's 22. But yes, that is an important piece of participating in the political process is nominating somebody who might be able to pull off a general election win.
And it all starts this weekend. Well, again, others will have their own
101.
Yeah. Does this time of year thrill you or not?
It's interesting. Here's my challenge is there's two pieces to it. There's a lot of pressure on candidates, and running for office these days is awful, and serving in office, like we've made this an awful thing that, I mean, it's already a public service and now it's public service that should come with hazard pay. But you know, like we still have a democracy and we like that and we have to participate in it. Whichever way we feel most comfortable. I, in good conscience, can't send a lot of people to caucus right now because a lot of the people that I talk to, like, I mean, if you're into it and you can have the time and the space and, you know, the childcare and all of those things, then I think people should do it. And at the same time, that process doesn't work for everybody, and it narrows the field as opposed to widening the field. And I like as much participation as we can get.
I like that. And again, I only speak of it because I tried it, and I did. I gave it a real gung-ho drive. Like, I can't hang talking the same stuff weekend after weekend, and this is what I do for a living. Love having you on. How does somebody get to you and your organization, Shannon?
MajorityMiddle.org. Hit the subscribe button at the bottom of the page, which evidently was broken for a while. Surprise! I got it fixed now, so hit that subscribe button. Get a couple of emails from us a month.
MajorityMiddle.org.